Hello everyone. So we have Patreon number 12, the Agapanthus bat. Let's get into it and bring him to life. Okay, I'm happy to announce that we are working on number 12 of our Patreon companions, meaning I have done this for a whole year now. That is crazy to say, just because it's been a year. Amazing. So we're gonna do our last one here before we go on to round 2 pretty much. So what we're doing is an Agapanthus bat. I don't really know what Agapanthus is. I just looked up popular flowers and that was one of the ones that pulled up and I thought it looked cool. So that's what we're gonna go with. So the colors I have are, because I was looking at like the flower colors. So it has this pink, a dark purple. Well, it said purple, so I'm doing a dark purple and then blue. Because it looks like the pictures I saw, the flowers were mostly blue. So that's what we're gonna pick there. And then for the background, I almost kind of want to have it in ruins, I suppose. So this bat's not going to look like a regular bat. I'm just going to throw that out there. He's going to be a little bit different based upon how I do my actual bat. Because I have a bat character and it's her, I call them mutations is what this is. So the bat's not going to look like a normal regular bat. But maybe in the corner, so we could have the flowers kind of growing through here. Obviously it'll be kind of dark, right? So we'll put dark. I think that's what I should do. And then kind of feel like an open place here. I almost want to have like a dried out fountain or something. More flowers. This, like an open, something like that. So now, could because he can walk on all fours. So I'm thinking I could do something like that where he's looking up, maybe like reaching. If I can break it, I could have the moon back here. And then obviously, as usual, we'll have flowers down the back. They always appear in like bunches, so okay, I think I might do something like this. So maybe walking in. I might just make that a well, not a mountain. Okay. And put broken walls. Alright, I think I'm gonna go with something like this. Kind of what I think would work. So I need pink, blue, dark purple. I think I also want gray in here. So a dark gray, probably black. I guess we could do I'll just stick with the gray is fine. Maybe dark green, obviously, because he can glow. So I'll put like glowing flowers. Okay. So pink is, I'll figure out fully what we're doing whenever I actually get there. It's just right now. Because I almost want the darker parts here. Maybe a little bit on the flowers, kind of leading up to it. And then this will be the main part. I always forget how I do the wings. It's kind of a problem. Because I do the dragon wings differently than the bat wings, but sometimes I still like confuse myself. Just because I do them a little bit different. So I think he'll look something like that. And then going over here, I think I do want to have maybe the different colored flowers, but again, they'll be glowing. Right? So they'll be a little bit lighter. I just feel like it'll help liven up the place. Okay. So now I have a black. Obviously, dark sky. He's just kind of walking in because they like to chill in the ruins. It's gray. Alright, and then some places, obviously kind of like moss and just like overgrown, I think, would make a lot of sense. Alright, I think we're going to go with something like this. I think it'll kind of work, so obviously when I can actually get in there and start doing something, it'll make more sense. But I think that's what we're going to go with, so I'm going to get started and I'll be back. Legend says the first of his kind emerged during a rare celestial dusk when the moon hung low and silver rain fell upon a field of blooming Agapanthus flowers. The flowers, known as Lily of the Nile, symbolize love, endurance, and hidden beauty. The rain awakened the flowers' sleeping spirits, and from there, glowing petals rose winged guardians to protect night gardens forever. These creatures are drawn to forgotten places where beauty still survives unnoticed, overgrown ruins, abandoned greenhouses, moonlit ponds, and quiet cemeteries reclaimed by flowers. Wherever they roost, Agapanthus blooms soon follow, growing an impossible crack of stone and along bare cliff edges. Despite his gentle appearance, the Agapanthus bat fiercely defends his gardens. When threatened, the blossoms on his bodies flare with brilliant bioluminescent light. Confusing predators and swirling waves of color, entire colonies can transform dark forests into glowing blue canopies that leave intruders hopelessly lost. It is said that if an Agapanthus bat leaves a single glowing petal near your window, it means the creature has chosen to protect your dreams for one night. And somewhere nearby, hidden among moonlit flowers, soft wings are still watching over the dark. So, keeping in time with bats, he's a night creature. That's the way this works, right? So for the drawing here, I just kind of wanted him, because like the abandoned ruins kind of gave me this idea to try and draw him in the ruins and kind of looking at all his flowers and have the flowers grow all the place. So that's kind of why he's walking on all fours, because they can do that versus like flying. Because, I mean, he can do both, because he's almost like a wyvern, if you will, even though he's a bat. But when I draw my bats, I do them like this. And then as for like the petals I put on there, because I always like to do a little touch of like flowers in here. I have the petals coming off like the back as I usually do. His cheeks like I usually do, and then like even the chest and stuff. I think it's pretty normal for me. So it's still kind of how I was doing it before. But I tried to add a little bit more, like, because I almost feel like the fur could be petals too. It's just they're so small we can't tell. And it's kind of like how the other petals on the body have grown is through the fur. And like they kind of like fall off and fly away kind of thing too. That was also my idea with this. But for the background, it's night outside. So I was trying to keep it like pretty dark and then kind of have him light so he's like glowing is what my intention was with this. Which overall I think worked out fairly well. I don't worry about doing too much of like the light situation, because I just don't need to at the moment until I get to the digital portion. It's just whenever I do it this way, I kind of just try and like do the shading as best I can to kind of match where the glow would be and then finish off the glow at the end. The petals were kind of difficult because obviously they're glowing, so I was like, how am I supposed to do this? I guess it would have made more sense to kind of have them darker on the inside and lighter on the outside, I suppose, which is what I kind of was doing for the bigger ones. As you can see, it's not entirely perfect, but I was attempting. It's just because they're so small, so it's kind of hard. Even with the coloring, like his patterning that I do was interesting because again, he's glowing, so I'm like, I have to like pay attention to where I'm putting the shading at. Because obviously, like towards the middle, he's going to be darker and then lighter going outwards because that's where the petals are and he's glowing. So I was like, oh man. So it's just kind of like a thought process while you're like trying to do two things at once. Like you're trying to make sure you color right, but also think properly. Is this like correct? Am I doing this right? So it's a whole event. I mean, it still turned out okay. Could I have pushed this more? Yes. That's why I'm thinking when I do these for round 2, I'm going to try and push them a little bit more. So I'll have to see what I can come up with. I'm going to try. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I'll see what I can do. For the inside of the wing here, I wanted to have the inside kind of glowing because like one, you have the moon hitting the light, but also again, the petals are glowing. So I think it kind of made sense for it to be lighter on the outside because, you know, the wings are very thin. It's like membrane or something. So I want to try and keep it like somewhat lighter. I don't add in like the background, like archway through the wing, which I probably should have. I didn't really think about it. So maybe I can go back and fix that. So we'll see if I remember. Because some of the stuff I don't think of until like after. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But we'll see what I do. Sorry, I'm filming this at night and apparently I'm tired, so I keep yawning. I apologize. I was like, this video was pretty much done. I'm like, I just want to get him recorded so I can kind of finish him, knock him off, and move on, you know? Anyway, so there's the marker. So again, you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit. Pencil-wise, I think it helps a little bit more because now I can kind of make stuff darker and everything else. I have like the base drawing done. So I can start to darken him up even more and like make him lighter where I need to. So with this like brick wall here, I thought it was kind of fun to kind of have it like somewhat in view. Even though it's covering the bat a little bit, I still think it just made some sense to have it doing it this way. Because then it kind of just works overall. And I did kind of make it dark. Again, it'll be lighter in a little bit, but for the most part, I tried to make it dark because it was closer. And then with the flowers, even though they're there, I still add the light a little bit later on. So I'm still trying to somewhat do the shading like kind of how it would be if since the flowers are glowing, like with the light around them. But it's a little hard, you know? And then with this green pencil, I was just adding in some like moss coloring, which you can kind of see more in the background as well. I just wanted to kind of have it like it was overgrown a little bit and there's just moss there, like it's just not taken care of anymore. You know, the elements are kind of taking it back is what I was wanting to do there. So I think it worked. Like it works fairly well, right? I'm surprised it showed up as well as it did. So I was like, okay, that's actually pretty cool that worked out the way I was wanting it to because I didn't want to worry about doing like shading on it. I just wanted to do like the brick shading and then put it on top. So I'm glad it worked. And it's still like pretty good that you can see it. So now with the flowers, again, I was trying to do somewhat of like the middle dark and it goes out lighter towards the edges is what I was trying to do. I mean, I was kind of able to do it, not really. It's just because I feel like part of it, I didn't put the indigo blue in there, so it doesn't look like it says dark, but I'm also like, well, the flowers are kind of light, like they're glowing, so I'm like, they can't really be dark like that. It just kind of makes sense, maybe just for like the outside going in and stuff, just to kind of add like a little bit of depth to them without doing anything like super drastic. So that was the idea there. Now, as for like the head and stuff, this was kind of hard to color because there's so much petals around it that, again, I don't want it to be like flat because I think it's going to be boring. I'm like, I want to add like some dimension to it still, like some shading. So I'm like having to kind of mess around with it. and see about that. But I tried. That's all I can say. I tried. It's just kind of weird for me to do it this way. But that's also the point of this, is like to try and experiment some with these and like trying like doing like different lighting elements and such, is I'm just trying to branch out more and do some different things. So, yeah, it's still kind of a process, but I feel like the concept is there. I just didn't execute it that well. But again, I feel like when I do the digital portion, it helps that I can add in a little bit more coloring or shading that I didn't do originally to kind of bring some stuff back out. So it just depends. Overall, though, like, it still got somewhere. Probably not exactly where I was wanting it, but it got somewhere, which is more important. I'll take it. I'm all right with that. We're just going to take it and move on. And again, it's just me experimenting, just trying new things, but overall it's okay. So, but I feel like shading is definitely a thing I have a problem with, because sometimes I'm like, I want to add in the shading, even though afterwards I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, because it just doesn't look right. But it's like I'm just trying to add some dimension. And I'm like, because if I don't, I feel like if I don't add in shading to it, it's just not going to look right. But then it's like I can't go overboard with the shading, or it's really not going to look right. So it's just kind of like a back and forth game of just trying to figure out what I want to do. But that's part of that's art, right? That's just the way it is. Like, you just kind of just take it and roll with it and just see what you can do. But I think the colors worked really nice. Like, they worked really well. They're very pretty together. But also, it's just kind of, I feel like the blue just really helps because I love this color blue. Like, the main blue I use is a true blue. So it's true blue, light cloud blue, and then violet purple blue. And it just works so well. But now this part we are adding in line art. But like I said, this is number 12. So I've been doing these for a full year now, which is crazy. So if you want to see the other 11, they're here as well. I also do a bunch of comics. I have other characters I draw. I do other drawing series like months and elements. I do dinosaurs. I do all kinds of things and paintings. So if you want to see more from me, feel free to stick around and try and check out the other things I've done. I hope you enjoy if you do. But with that, this is the end. So here's the final reveal. But you can kind of see what I mean by I did the glowing effect. It took away some of the shading, but it's kind of necessary because of what this is. And just adding in a little bit of darker highlights in some places. Was it necessary? Probably not. But again, it's a bad habit. It's just something I like doing. So I just feel like it still helps to add to the drawing a little bit. But there we go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!